Morning.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm doing
Saturday, August 8th, and we're going to be reading Esther 3, 4, and 5.
Esther 3, 4, and 5. Yep. Yes, you took that one. Matthew was going to read it. Okay. So, Esther 3, 4, and 5. And our background is different. We've been...
We were at the army. Now we're at home.
You're right. We were at the Omni,
Now
and
we're at home.
now we're at home. All right. So, we did not read Saturdays last night. Why didn't we read Saturdays? We were packing. We had to be out this morning. Well, by 11, but we were out earlier than that. And we had a lot of stuff to pack.
We're like at 10, 15 minutes after when we were supposed to check out.
And no. We got out before 11.
There's 9.
Let's see.
9.
What else was I going to say? Oh, we ate pizza really late, but we got to the room late.
Yeah.
And, but it was good. It was, we went, what happened yesterday?
Yesterday,
That's right.
we got blessed with the truck.
We got blessed with a truck.
And
And-
all the person takes the boat shortcuts.
And then we went out to eat with some friends who came in for Southwest, and they came from Houston. So we went out to eat with them during the time that we would have done Bible reading. And then it was really late. So here we are now. It is Saturday. We're at home and we're reading.
Haman plots to destroy the Jews. After these things, King Ahasuerus praised Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, and promoted him, and set his seat above all the officials who were with him. All the king's servants, when they were at the king's gate, bowed and paid homage to Haman, since the king had commanded it. Mordecai, however, never bowed or paid homage. So the king's servants, tending the king's gate, said to Mordecai, "Why are you transgressing the king's commandment?" Though they spoke to him daily, he never listened to them. So they reported it to Haman to see if the words of Mordecai would stand. For Mordecai had told them that he was a Jew. When Haman saw that Mordecai neither bowed nor paid him homage, he was filled with rage. But he disdained to lay hands on only Mordecai, since they had told him of the people of Mordecai. So Haman sought to destroy all the Jews throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus. In the first month, which is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast cast lots before Haman daily, and each month until the 12th month, which is the month Adar, to determine the time. And Haman said to King Ahasuerus, "There exists a scattered people dispersed among the other peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from all the others, and they are not complying with the king's law. So there may not be a suitable reason for the king to allow them to exist. If it pleases the king, may it be written that they are to be destroyed, may there be 10,000 talents of silver deposited into the king's treasury, so that I may distribute it to the hands of those doing the work." The king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. The king said to Haman, "The silver has been granted to you, as have the people, to do with each as it pleases you." Then the king's scribes were summoned on the 13th day of the first month, and the decree was written just as Haman had commanded, to the king's satraps and to the governors over each province, and to the officials of all the peoples, and to every province according to its own script, and to every people in their language. It was written in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with the king's signet ring. The letters were sent by mounted couriers into all the king's provinces to cause the destruction, slaughter, and annihilation of all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and even to plunder their possessions. A copy of the document issued as law in every province was proclaimed, calling for all people to be ready for the day. The couriers went out, being hastened by the king's command. At the citadel of Susa, when the decree was issued, the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Susa was in uproar. Esther helps the Jews. When Mordecai learned all that had been done, he tore his clothes and put on a sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city, and he cried with a loud and bitter cry. He went as far as the king's gate, because no one was allowed to enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. In each and every province where the king's command and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting and weeping and wailing. Many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So the young women of Esther and the eunuchs came and told her of it. The queen was then seized by anguish. She sent garments to clothe Mordecai so that he could remove the sackcloth, but he would not accept them. So Esther summoned Hathach, one of the king's eunuchs appointed to attend her, and commanded him concerning Mordecai to learn what this was about and why. So Hathach went out to where Mordecai was in the area of the city in front of the king's gate. Mordecai told him about all that had happened to him and about the sum of silver that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasurer for the destruction of the Jews. Mordecai also gave him a copy of the written decree issued in Susa concerning the destruction, so he could show Esther, tell her about it, and then charge her to go to the king in order to gain him favor with the king and make requests in the presence of the king for her people. Hathach returned and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again, Esther spoke to Hathach and ordered him to reply to Mordecai. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces know that whoever, whether man or woman, wishes to come to the king at the inner court but has not been summoned, there is one law, to be put to death, unless for some reason the king would hold out the golden scepter so that he might live. I, however, have not been summoned to come to the king for these 30 days. So all the people of Esther were told
The
words of Esther were told to Mordecai. Then Mordecai told him to reply to Esther, do not think that in the king's palace you will be more likely to escape than all the other Jews. For if you remain silent at the time, protection and deliverance of the Jews will be ordained from some other place, but you and your father's house shall be destroyed. And who knows if you may have attained royal position for such a time as this. Then Esther replied, sending back to Mordecai, go gather all the Jews who can be found in Susa, and then fast for me. Stop eating and drinking for 3 days. Night or day, I and my young women will fast likewise. Only then would I dare to go to the king, since it is not allowed by law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went away and did exactly as Esther had commanded him. Queen Esther's banquet. On the 3rd day, Esther put on her royal apparel and positioned herself in the king's palace courtyard, so that he would be directly in line. She would be directly in line with the part of the king's throne room, where the king sat facing the entrance of the room, on his royal throne in the royal hall. When the king saw Queen Esther standing quietly out in the courtyard, she gained favor in his sight. So the king held out the golden scepter in his hand to Esther. Esther approached and touched the top of the scepter. And the king said to her, Queen Esther, what do you want? What is your request? Even if it is up to half of the kingdom, it will be given to you. Esther answered, if it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come today to a feast that I have prepared for him. Then the king said, quickly bring Haman so that we may accept the invitation of Esther. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. While drinking wine, the king said to Esther, "For whatever you ask, it shall be granted you. So what is it your request? Even if it is for as much as half of the kingdom, it shall be done." And Esther replied and said, "This is my petition and request. If I have won the king's favor, and if it pleases the king to grant my petition and fulfill my request, then let the king and Haman come to my banquet that I will prepare for them, and tomorrow I will do what the king says." Haman's plan to destroy Mordecai. Haman left the day joyfully and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai at the king's gate, that he neither stood up nor trembled because of him, then Haman was full of indignation against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman restrained himself, and then he came to his home. He sent for his friends and for his wife Zeresh. Haman recounted to them the glory of his riches, his many children, and everything about him the king had praised, and how he had promoted him over the princes and servants of the king. And Haman continued, "Indeed, Queen Esther brought to the banquet she had prepared no one but the king and me, and tomorrow I am again invited by her with the king. Yet for all this I am not satisfied whenever I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate." Then his wife Zeresh and all his friends suggested to him, "Let a gallows 50 cubits tall be constructed, and in the morning ask the king if Mordecai can be hanged on it. Then go merrily with the king to the banquet." And the suggestion pleased Haman, so he had the gallows constructed.
Oh, wow.
That is
Esther.
3-5.
All right. 3 through 5. Bye. Have a great day.
Subscribe. Like this video. Please leave a like or a comment.